Let's start. We are recording it so people can watch it later on also, correct? So there shouldn't be a problem. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Good. Thanks for taking out time on Saturday afternoon. Um, and my team has prepared this presentation, research team, Shonit and Rashna. Thank you for doing this. And the entire team for working behind the background to make this successful. Thank you. Now, when we talk about infrastructure, we are talking at the country level, correct? So every country has two kinds of infrastructure. One is hard infrastructure and one is soft infrastructure. The hard infrastructure is the structure what we uh, think like roads and the hard physical infrastructure. The soft infrastructure is the social systems, the governance, and the education. So, like judicial system, the corporations and the state governments and how they run the administration. So that is the soft infrastructure. Now, we are not talking about the soft infrastructure in today's meeting. We are talking about the hard infrastructure. Now, if you ask me between hard and soft, infrastructure, which is a weak area of India, it is a soft infrastructure. Our judicial systems, if we have to become a really top three economies of the world, that system has to improve. If all our young people, like what we saw just now in education, what happened last month, correct? So that soft infrastructure is very weak. So it's lagging much behind the physical infrastructure. So I'm not going to talk more about it, but I hope it will improve in next few years. Now, as regards hard infrastructure, which is the physical infrastructure, the physical infrastructure almost contributes 60% of the GDP of India's GDP. Now, it's so it's as good as the economy, correct? And as good as the economy, and that includes everything: rail, road, factories, electricity grids. And so here's what we are talking about, correct? It requires railroads, ports, airports, waterways, power, water, sewage, housing, metro, then connections, correct? How we connect with it, telecom, and you know data centers and all that, industrial parks, how we manufactures, and also the future IT infrastructure, knowledge infrastructure. So the cloud systems, the hardware, the defense, as we have seen the war these days, now for even the capital markets and all, they come in the this infrastructure. So if you see this, infrastructure is a very wide area. A very wide area. It may mean different things for different people. Like someone thinks when you talk about infrastructure, then you think only rail, road, and power. But no, it's much larger than that, correct? Now, if you saw what happened in Iran and US war, the satellites and the technology infrastructure and the finance infrastructure, the stock markets are much more powerful than the physical infrastructure. So these days, that infrastructure, every country has to develop, like space and all that. So they all fall in this category, correct? That's a physical. So then infrastructure is never sold, it's bought, correct? It's ordered. People have to invest. So you can't open a business unless you invest in the business first. The same thing is about infrastructure. You can't run an economy. First, you do that. Otherwise, now that's why we pay taxes. So when many people say, I don't want to pay taxes, it's my income. I said, yeah, then if you don't want to pay taxes, let's live in jungle. There is no infrastructure there and everything is young. Now we earn money because there is an infrastructure. There is a system, correct? So it's our duty to pay to the government. Now we may have doubts that the infrastructure is not good, so I don't want to pay, but we are still earning money because of the government infrastructure. So it's a duty to pay taxes. So it's how you look at it, correct? It's pay. So first the government has to invest in infrastructure. The society has to invest, and that's how the economy goes up, correct? Now of all the sectors, the infrastructure has the longest cycle. So economic cycle. So like IT and education, they have short cycles, but IT has a short cycle of 2 years. But the infrastructure, power sector, they have a cycle of 10, 15 years, even airline. It takes a lot of years to build. And what happens is when we build, We always build sometime more, and then for next 10 years, the demand will come. So that time the lean period comes. And then we didn't build in that lean period, so the shortage happens. Then again, we start building. So the cycles are very long. They're very long in infrastructure, economic cycle. Now, if you look at this, the macro picture of India, uh, India's economy is $4.5 trillion. Construction share is about 9%. Infrastructure, like allied economy, GDP, is 13%. Okay, I'm sorry about this. There is some virus on my computer keeps popping up, correct? There are almost 7 to 10 crores people employed in this, and it's a multiplier. So infrastructure is a multiplier of the economy. So first you build infrastructure and then the economy grows. It doesn't happen that economy grows first and then so that's what it is, correct? Now if you see now here, oh, 1 second, why this is my screen is coming. Now let me take this down. Yeah. So in the budget, the government is increasing the infrastructure spending. Now we are going to have elections in next 2029. So next year onwards, a lot of spending will happen on the elections, or a lot of on the infrastructure, because that time, as more people are employed, the government starts spending 2 years before the elections are there. So you'll see a lot of projects and this. So infrastructure is in a long term up curve just now, especially India is concerned, a physical infrastructure. We have to make a lot of progress in the social infrastructure, like judicial reforms and governance. There we are still lagging behind. Now, who actually pays for the infrastructure? Who invests? The central government is the biggest investor. Then comes the state government. Then comes the PSU, and then the private sector. Correct. Now, private sector does the least investments in the infrastructure because private sector is more concerned about the profit, correct? So they can't afford to go bankrupt, and so so their investment in infrastructure is of a very short duration, unless they are very big corporations, which now like companies like Reliance and Tata's are doing that. Otherwise, the small businesses, their spending is less, or even medium scale companies, correct? Only you have to have very deep pockets to invest in that. Central Oh, what happened? Oh, sorry.
I think this is you can just exit this Chrome tab.
Huh? What?
You just have to shut down this tab, Chrome browser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm there.
Yeah, you're there.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know where the Chrome came from. So the private sector is the least investing today. When private sector starts investing, then comes a real boom, correct? That's what is happening. Now, if you look at this, the central government is the biggest spender in infrastructure. So they do capital allocations of 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then there are different ways they do that, correct? Policy and budget, then they build a project and hand it over, correct? Award it to somebody else, a developer, where they fund the Adanis and IRBs and GMR jointly they do that. Then they do through contractors, correct, like L&T and this kind of companies. So Adani, L&T, they are Reliance, they're the biggest infrastructure uh, companies in India. Materials and equipment like cement, steel, Tatas and Birlas are there, power plant, BHEL is there. And then you see these days there's a new vehicle company which is called REIT. So that's like a mutual funds, correct? Where all investors plug them together, they build a big township and they rent the properties or they sell the properties and they build big kind of stuff, correct? Big projects, tollways and highways and all. So that also has come to India. And these are many ways of funding infrastructure. Infrastructure, and this is the key how infrastructure works, correct? Now, if you see the per capita use of infrastructure in India, it's one of the lowest. So we are talking about containers, air passengers, and power. So if you see, there are only 14 containers for every 1,000 people in India, whereas in America it's 181, UK it's 145, and a country like Brazil has 66, correct? Vietnam has 185 containers per person, correct? China is 184. So India is way behind containers, correct? Now now India is also today 90% of containers are produced by China. So India is way behind the curve here. So if you want to even export or increase our economy, we internally also the containers have to go up, correct? This 14 has to become at least 60, 70, means 400, 500% growth, correct? Air passengers, the number of passengers per thousand in India is only 60. America is 2,000, correct? Now, of course, we are never going to go to the American standard, but we can at least go to China, correct? 312, Vietnam 151, Indonesia 123, Brazil 289. So if we go between 150 and 200, still it's three times. Huge, correct? Huge infrastructure has to be happen there. So we are way behind the curve there. Then again, the per capita consumption per power, we consume 1,032 watts. Vietnam consumes double. China consumes five times, correct? And the United States consumes 12 times of India's power. Huge, correct? UK. Now, we will never reach US standard, but at least we should go somewhere between Vietnam and China, 3,000, 4,000. So this 1,000 is going to drastically increase. So that's what's going to happen in the future. So we can come to know what is the potential for India long term. Now, the problem here is when you this kind of physical infrastructure has to grow simultaneously with the social infrastructure, which is the government governance, municipalities approval, the corruption is there, correct? Judicial systems, no education. Now there, that is the bottleneck today. The for growth for this consumption is not the money part. The problem for growth in India infrastructure is the social infrastructure of governance and what do you call the judicial system. And you cannot enforce a contract in India. The case will go on for 20, 30 years, correct? So no businessman. That's why private, they don't spend money on infrastructure and they write it off. Even Simplicity wrote off, so many people did some wrong thing at Simplicity. We wrote off those investments. It's not good to go to the court. So that is the other problem India has. Now, this will increase only when social infrastructure improves. So social has to improve, and then we'll see a very leap growth in physical infrastructure. That's happening. Now, uh, now, if you see the advanced technological infrastructure, India practically is nowhere in the world. For example, high-speed rail. India doesn't have, very small, correct? See, the Japan has it since 1964, France 1981, China is 48,000 kilometers, Spain 4,000. China was way behind India in 1980. Today, India still doesn't have, correct? Pressurized tap water. So when I live in US, I get anywhere, I don't drink bottled water, I drink tap water. And the tap water is 24 hours. And it's a fat to drink bottled water, but bottled water is much more unsafe because it is plastic. The tap water is the safest. So in America, I'm not talking about India. In India, you don't get tap water anywhere except for some cities, and that too you get only for 1 or 2 hours in the morning. You don't have tap waters here. Universal, this is the basic assumption in Western countries. We have yet to go. The universal sewage systems in India, less said the better. It has improved drastically in last 30, 40 years because I remember my childhood when I 50 years back, I used to hate traveling in India, going to Ahmednagar and this, and they have open toilets they had, correct? Now, those kind of stuff is, we have a lot of things to grow, correct? This has to grow. Um, Municipal waste systems. There also we are not very good. Still we have to go. Residential pipe natural gas. We have only 1.5 crore domestic connections, which is less than 5%. Pipe connections is there everywhere abroad. Uh, Now semiconductor fabrication. India is nowhere in the picture. It's now coming into that. And nuclear at scale. India is very small, correct? Now, what I'm trying, India has the technology for all of this, but this is not growing because the social infrastructure is blocking it. The social, so that needs to happen. So we'll see that in next decade or so. There's a lot of pressure on the government. There's a lot of pressure in the system to improve that. and which should happen, correct? Hopefully, because now you take the other thing here, as far as this is evolution of India is one of the fastest country in the world to adopt new technology. And let me explain you that now how it is the fastest country. So let me go back one second. India is the fastest country. So telephone came in the 1870s, correct? In India, let's forget about 1870, 1900. In India, we had landlines. Now, I remember in 1980 when I became a chartered accountant, the wait list for telephonists was 15 years. It was a 15 years time period to get a telephone. From there, we went straight to 2010, where you get an instant phone, correct? Today you can get a telephone instantly. So transition from year to year was very fast. But whereas in America, it went through multiple different things, landlines and radio communication, fax machines, then pager. Even today, so many people in America are using pager. In rural America, they're still using these phones, digital, then mobile data. So India, and the other thing which I noticed compared to Western world and India, India is very fast in adopting new technologies because, especially in computers and mobile, because India is a young population. And now, if you take even, I struggle sometimes to use my mobile apps. So I take the help of my team, whose average is 25, 27. They are very good in that, correct? Apps and all that. Now, so India's average is 28. America's age is over 38, 39. So the adoption of new technology takes time there. Here, the adoption is very fast. Though they invent new technologies, India has benefited because it didn't have to invest in so many things, correct? Capital expenditure. Because we were not developed, that's the positive side of it. Suddenly, we can go to the latest satellite communication. Uh, which was not possible. It takes a lot of time in America to do that. So that's a very big benefit. The cost of building that kind of infrastructure per capita is very low than it comes. That's why geo and internet, mobile is been so cheap in India. It's the cheapest in the world. Why? Because the number of users and adaptability. In America, it's almost 50 times more expensive mobile communication than India on internet also. So that's the difference. Uh, Now, India, if you look at this, I won't go through much detail, but here, India, if you see in last 6 decades, India has taken a lot of time in every decade building new stuff. Now, what infrastructure India has built in last 15 years, it took more than 50 years before to build. So in last 15 years, the number of projects which has gone is equal to all the projects for the previous 50 years. So India has built massive infrastructure. Now again, there is a lag between the investment in infrastructure and economic boom. So I still remember in 1990s, I had gone to Dallas, and from Dallas I was going to Austin, and they had built a new tollway. I had never seen a tollway of that size. It's called 121. Huge, 8 lanes both the sides, and like Samruddhi Express, and nothing was there on both the sides of the road. So, and there were hardly any cars. They built that infrastructure in 1990. Today, there are multiple cities, they are booming there. So they built one of the largest airport in the world, Dallas, in 1970s. It's today the second largest airport in the world after Denver physically. And they built when there was nothing there. And now, because of the airport and those highways, the economy is booming. So there's always a lag between. So first you build the infrastructure and then business is set up. So you'll see that kind of stuff happening in India. Whatever infrastructure we have built in last 10 years or 12 years, the benefit of that, the economic benefit of that, we are going to get in next 10 years. So let's take all this connectivity, Samruddhi Express, physical, and that's a very good foresight the government had. And let's build it, and then people will use it, and this will go, correct? Basically, it's that. First you build it, then that culture has changed in India. Previously, we used to build only when everything chokes, correct? Now, at least some places, the thinking has come, let's build first, business more than required, and the capacity will improve. That change in mindset has happened, which is good. Now, if you take there's some scary information on global infrastructure. Today, 98% of shipbuilding industry is only in two countries, South Korea and China. Only in two countries. Even US doesn't have. Even US doesn't have. So US is scared of that. The shipbuilding industry, entire world, is dominated by China and South Korea. Hmm? So India doesn't have, US doesn't have, even warship or what do you call submarines or this. US has, but US is still nowhere compared to China. Now that so India need to invest in that in next few years if it has to be really able to show its independence in the global economy. Uh, then these are the main bottlenecks. So here you require massive investments and you require a lot of economy. So you'll see that kind of thing happening in next few years in India. Um, that So here's what we are saying, correct? The physical asset base barely moved in 50 years. Then, so I still remember in 1980s, you had only two cars, Ambassador and Fiat. And they had only two scooters. That was Lambretta and Bajaj. So Bajaj waiting period was scooter. My grandfather booked five scooters in 1965. I got it in 1981. The scooter we sold, and that premium black market premium going on. So we sold four scooters. I got one free plus some cash. So that was the economy. We hardly used to build. Everything was controlled, licensed, and we was a socialist economy. Correct. Today, you see the number of cars, number of scooters, the choices we have. So that has changed after 1991, and it is further changed in the last 20 years, 15 years, as the Indian economy opened up. So this is very good sign, correct? India has more physical infrastructure than our forefathers have seen. My grandfather and father had traveled only once in their plane in their lifetime. Once in their lifetime. I travel every 1 month. I've been traveling between India and US more than 100 times in the last 20 years. Now, so the use also, as everything has changed. And this kind of stuff is going to happening. India still is way behind in that kind of infrastructure. So you see Dubai. Dubai shouldn't have existed. Dubai airport shouldn't have existed if we had developed Bombay airport in 1980s. As the IT sector opened up, Dubai invested in the connectivity, and see where today Dubai is. Dubai was just a regular port, oil hub before 1980. They saw and they built that, and see where Dubai is today. Dubai exists today only because of Bombay, because we didn't build a very good airport in Bombay, and we kept on fighting among ourselves. And see what now India has woken up. If we build world-class airports, those airports will be in trouble, correct? So, but we are still yet to go there. But at least the thinking is there, and that will create a lot of mass generation, mass employment for the young generation. Yeah. Now, India added more physical infrastructure in last 12 years than 45 years before. Still, it was nowhere global standard. So imagine the potential. Imagine the potential India has. Imagine. So I don't see any problem in India's building infrastructure for next 20 years, 15 years, 20 years. So we shouldn't have any issues, correct? There is so much demand, and it's only the soft infrastructure, the government approvals, the judicial system, and they should work to support to build that. If that happens, we'll be way ahead. Yeah. Mhm. Now, the contract, correct? The five contract modes there. So one, when you build an infrastructure, large projects like, uh, tollways, highways, dams, uh, first government pays 100% and builds it, correct? That's the old traditional model. The second is government funds 40, company funds 60, and they get annuity for 15 years. The third, the company funds it and charges a fee for toll fee and takes the profit, and from that it pays the capital expenditure, correct? The fourth is toll operator transfer, buy a finished revenue earning asset from the government builds it and sells the assets. And the pool asset, RET, so group of investors joined together, we'll see that the pool, this will be the maximum, the last kind of stuff will happen the most. It's already happening in big cities like Chennai, Pune, where massive townships are getting built up. It's not possible for one builder or one person to build a township. So what happens is, so in America, I've seen 10,000 apartments are built, and it's all funded by mutual funds. And they hire a very good contractor and the property management company, and they rent it, and from there the returns are distributed, and that's how infrastructure is built. So that kind of model also will come to India. It's already started coming, and we'll see that. So all this will bring indirect boom to the infrastructure sector, to the manufacturing sector, and all of the services, correct? So this is the foundation of our Indian economy. Hmm. Now, the other thing where we are lacking is new age infrastructure like metros, renewable storage, data centers. Now, okay, I'll just talk a little bit about data centers. Why you require so much data centers? So let me give an example. Let's say there is a book which everybody wants to read 30 years or 40 years back. So we all had to go to the library or bookstore and buy that physical book. And let's say the book print was 10,000 copies. So only 10,000 people could buy it and read it. Now that book is no more printed, it's a digital, put on the cloud and a computer. Now, how many people can read it? 2 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore people can read that book from anywhere in the world. But the problem when 50 lakhs or 1 crore read, they all go on the internet at the same time. And that book, that infrastructure, that computer or the CPU should be able to allow to manage 1 lakh users to read the book at the same time. And that is called data centers and digital software. And that consumes a lot of power because the same book is simultaneously read by 10 lakhs people. 10 lakhs people or 10 same website. So when we are watching a cricket match or when we are watching some major event, the same, so hosting that kind of a data requires massive, massive, massive. Imagine 10,000 people or 10 lakhs people reading the same book at the same time. Physically, how much infrastructure? It was not possible before. But with computers, it's possible. Now, to make that happen, you have to have a very strong computers at the back. So that is what that defense and shipbuilding, logistic warehouse, green hydrogen fuels, and semiconductors. Today, the chip is there everywhere. It's in our body too, correct? Even today, we medical this thing they put in a heart in a chip, correct? They put chips everywhere in our brain. Now, going forward, the chip is going to be the main stuff. Now, India is nowhere in chip manufacturing, nowhere, 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 not even 0.001% today, correct? So these are the areas where future growth is going to happen. But there you require a lot of good leadership, a lot of support from the government, and a lot of money, correct? The vision is required. So we'll see that happening in the future. But then also the basic infrastructure like water and sanitation, transmission, power generation, airports. The more airports you build, the better the economy, correct? Otherwise, everybody wants to come to Pune, Bombay. If you have very good airport connectivity and you can live in Satara and you can live in Sholap, the Satara air is 10 times better than Pune air. So people won't migrate to Pune, correct? So there'll be a very good development everywhere. So we need that kind of connectivity, correct? So that's government has already taken initiative there, and we see that happening, which is a good thing. But next 20 years, you'll see a massive, massive investments in all these areas, and I'm sure. And this is required for national security. It's no longer basic necessity. The country will collapse if we don't have all this. So it's become a national security issue. Data centers, if you don't have it in India, then China will control Indian population, America will control, like the way they control in Iran, correct? The Iranians have no access, they have no clue what's going on in the world, they have no control on their life. So you need to have that digital infrastructure. So India is going to invest massively in this in going forward. Uh, Now, here what happens is how in infrastructure, first you have to take the pain. Like in our life, first we, like say, education. We spent 15, 20 years in educating ourselves. We didn't earn any money. After 15 years, we start earning money. Same thing happens in infrastructure. You have to first invest. The gestation period is very large capacity, and you have to see the future and build, and then you gain market share, then you make money. So that's how it happens, correct? Yeah, if you see the roads, how many are getting built, I won't go through much of the data, but look at the last number, annual toll collection, 70,000 crores. Now imagine 20 years back, there was no toll road in India. I still remember that, except for Pune, Bombay. There was no, and they were, there was a long waiting list. Pune, Bombay was the first toll road in India. Today it is 70,000 crores. Now, how much time it saves, how much fuel it saves, how much efficiency happens. If somebody wants to, a few years back, they said if oranges from Nagpur are to be exported to Middle East, they didn't have. By the time they come to Bombay, they get rotten, correct? So they were not able to export. Indian this thing. All that has changed because of the physical infrastructure. Today, you need that, and that kind of things are happening, correct? And foreign companies also investing because they see that they can earn money from that. Privates also, and it's a good thing. Now, in India, the largest private sector infrastructure company is L&T. In fact, I'll tell you, L&T is one of the five largest infrastructure company worldwide. L&T is the third largest defense contractor in America too. Uh, so America now, if you those who work in L&T defense system in America, they don't take people from India. They hire people from US who are US citizens only after they get security systems, security clearance. Because but America in America, the third largest defense contractor is L&T. So you can imagine how big that company is. L&T is one of the bluest blue chip in infrastructure in India. Then you see BHAL. Now there are other companies like IRB, infrastructure, GR. Now they all went through, like L&T also went through a lot of turmoil in the initial years because the funding is required so much and there is a lot of corruption, red tape and all that. So they go through a evolution process and then once they become beyond large, very large, then they can dictate terms to the government and then the corruption gets reduced, correct? The local corporate or the local things, they don't dictate terms when you are very big. When you're small, a lot of red tape is. So this is the evolution process which is going to happen. Uh, it's changing, correct? Now, railways and rolling stock. Railways, okay. India has, I won't say the best railway system in the world. I'd say India is the largest railway system in the world, which is very unique, which is very good. But it needs to further improve. It is the cheapest way of communicating travel in India, mobility of India, and is the cheapest and the fastest way of connecting. So, for example, in Bombay also, the fastest way from going to from Kandivali to Churchgate is local, correct? The train, the fastest way. Yeah, the fastest way. Same way. Now, if the fastest way, the train system that coming from Bombay to Pune, again, the fastest way used to be train. Now, of course, because it's missing link and all that, I think the road may be there, but not the plane. To go to the airport, it takes 2 hours in Bombay. In Pune, it will take another 1.5 hour, and the flight time is only so you spend 5-6 hours if you want to fly by plane to from Bombay, Pune. But the fastest way of communication, traveling, mobility is train, and it's very cheap. Now that needs to be further. Now we have seen a lot of improvement there, and this is going to generate a lot of employment, a lot of other service. It's good. Then so this where India is doing very good. Correct in India. This is, but it's now ports and shipping and waterways. We lag behind here. Now you'll see a massive focus on this in next 5-10 years. Now all these companies will do well. Adani Ports, JSW, Gujarat Pipavav, Cochin Shipyard, Mazgaon Dock, shipping corporations. They will do well. Uh, yeah, if we are still in the global shipping, we are minuscule. We are minuscule compared to our GDP. If we have to grow, this has to grow first. This has to grow first. So you'll see this is a very good sector within the subsector. Airports and aviation is also a very good sector. Now, the only problem with this sector is it requires massive capital. So, and that's why, so like if you want to start an IT company, uh, like Infosys doesn't require capital, TCS doesn't require capital. But, you take airlines, correct? Like Akasha, or you take Indigo, it requires massive capital. Now, so the gas station, so this is very only people with the deep pockets kind of come here. And one second. Now I'll go to the next. Power generation. Of course, power generation. So there are three things, correct, in power generation. Um, in power generation, uh, okay, one sec, I just missed the slide, correct? Uh, To power, there are three things in power generation. You have to build up power plants, then you require transmission lines, and then you need the software to manage all this, correct? Power plants and transmissions. So there are three kinds of companies in that. Uh, um, there are three kinds of companies which are there in this field, correct? And you will see here also India still lags way behind in power generations globally. You'll see a massive growth here. I won't go into much details. We'll be sharing this presentation with you. You can have a look at it in detail. It has a lot of good data. But these are all long-term investments, correct? You can't, these are not like the semiconductor stocks like in US where they develop it every 15 days and then they fall also so fast. These are very long-term investments and sectors where you have to have patience. Metros, waterways, urban transit. Yeah, India is way behind this. Now, this is going to do very well in next few years. This sector is also going to, the name of the companies are here. And now, digital infrastructure, correct? Now, digital infrastructure, also there'll be massive investments happening. And these are the sectors where now the only disadvantage of this sector is if the company selects the wrong technology, the technology gets obsolete very fast. So that is the risk every company takes. The technology in power, the technology doesn't get obsolete. Power plants, the technology doesn't get obsolete. In railway, the technology doesn't get obsolete. It takes 30 years to get it. But in digital infrastructure, the technology can get obsolete in 2 years or 3 years. So you have to make sure. So the payback period, you have to work your risk and all that. So every business infrastructure sector has a different kind of risk parameter, correct? Yeah. Now roads, they don't become tollways. They don't become obsolete. In 2 years or five. They become obsolete after 30, 40 years, correct? Now, what is the next generation? Hydrogens, defense, logistics, EV charging, semiconductors, battery storage. Yeah, battery storage is another thing. You require so much power everywhere, correct? In offices, in your data centers, in your cars, in your mobiles. So this storage, that system is going to be so. There is a lot of opportunities here, but it's all long-term investments. You cannot do for short term. Now, as coming back to the fourth part of the infrastructure, raw materials like steel, cement. Now, if you spend $100 on 100 rupees on infrastructure, one sec, what they have come from?
Working on the electrical connection.
Yeah.
There might be some.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, some work is going on here. So sorry, there's some disturbance. I'll go a little bit out. So I'm at Lodha Belmondo doing this presentation from there. Now, if 100 rupees is spent on infrastructure, steel takes about 18%, cement and concrete takes 13%, correct? Then the labor 17%. You see the cables, metals, land, design, others. So infrastructure is multiple things, correct? When you look at this way. Now, I'm coming back to talking about land, correct? Now, what has happened? Why there is such a suddenly India has become rich? So when government started acquiring land for tollways, they started acquiring at 1.5 crore per acre, 2 crores per acre. The land which was getting sold for 50,000 or even 1 lakh per acre, suddenly these farmers started getting 1.5 crore per acre. So the government bought only a few acres in a village, but the whole village became rich because everybody's value went up because, correct? And that's how in last few years you see the wealth in India. So even 1 acre is bought in some one village for 1.5 crore. Every villager feels that he's become rich, correct? So one flat in your building goes up by 40% sold premium. Everyone other than guy thinks my value is also gone up. Now that has happened in India in last few years. And then what happens? The value goes up, the banks lend you more money, and the whole circulation. So that's another trigger which has happened to India in the last few years as far as infrastructure because of the development. Now, price and economic and geopolitics, correct? Now, to build all this kind of stuff, you require the latest technology and the supply chain and all this. For example, you see the how China is controlling some of the key, inputs, especially in the pharma industry and technology industry, rare earth. They're not able, they're controlling that. 95% of that, they control it, correct? Uh, they control that. Now, you're so you have to understand the geopolitics of every item what you're doing, and then accordingly take the business cycle. So the business cycle where we stand today, let's go there. Now, to start any new project or repair now, it takes 2 years, correct? It takes 2 years in the planning stage, 2 to 3 years. Execute and expand takes another 3, 4 years. And then you another 2 years to start that, correct? Means finish it and digest it. So it's a long path, correct? Now, if you see India's last 4 cycle, or half 5 cycles, 91 to 2002, we made a lot of announcements, but no infrastructure got built. A lot of policy reforms happened, but nothing got built, correct? 91 to 2000. Then 2003 to 2008, a lot of overcapacity got built in power, telecommunication, everywhere, correct? And then the burst came, correct? So Reliance infrastructure stock came down, I don't know, 3,000 to practically 50 rupees. Reliance communication became zero. So many companies became zero, correct? Now, BHEL was from 400 rupees a share, it came down to 20 rupees. And now it again is back 400. So that great burst came in 2009 and 13, where and then again the shortages started happening, and 14 to 20, the infrastructure started getting used, and the capacity was short. So again, they started getting priced. Now in 2021 to 26, again we have built a lot of infrastructure. The benefits of this we are going to get in next 5 years, 10 years, and so what work we do today, the benefits of that don't come this year or next year. It comes after 4, 5 years. So that's what the cycle. You have to understand the cycle. Now, infrastructure cycle, as I said, is a 15-year long-term cycle. So if you look at this, 15 to 91 to 2008, or 2009. So 2091 to 2008, there was a boom, correct? It boom. Then the burst happened from 2008 to 2020. The burst, so many companies went bankrupt. So many, everybody suffered, and so many banks went bankrupt. Correct, and 2020 onwards again the boom has come after COVID. Now it will take another 10 years for that boom to go. We are in the middle of that boom on that cycle, and that's what I'm trying to. It takes 10 to 15 years cycle. Yeah, this is now coming to. Uh, and again, within the infrastructure cycles, every cycle has a different time period. For example, road and this has a longer cycle, power has the longest cycle. Digital and defense have a much shorter cycle, correct? So every cycle has a different tenure within the infrastructure cycle. So you have to understand when you're investing in that. It takes this thing. The how do you fund managers, how they look at that, how they invest in this. Now, if you look at this, actually takes a call, he sees how much orders he had. For example, I'll give you Cummins, Kirloskar Cummins is already booked for, all those power units, diesel, for next 5 years. They don't have, and that's why the stock has gone from 1,000 to 5,000, because the power book, then book to bill, how much orders they're able to execute, execution velocity, margin quality, balance sheet, working capital, and this. And this is a cycle when you look at every company's stock, correct? The infrastructure cycle stock, the company in the business, everyone has a different phase, correct? It takes a different time. Yeah. Now, I won't go much into detail. I'll share this presentation, what is working and what is not working, correct? So still, there are a lot of things, as I said, soft infrastructure and hard infrastructure. So our soft infrastructure, like the government support, the judiciary, the government administration at the state level, uh, corporation level and central, is not in sync with the need of the business. It takes a lot of time, and that's where we are suffering, correct? Now, if you look at, now I'll come back to that. I'll end my this presentation with, I've just given you a broad overview of how the infrastructure we look at it. So when we look at the infrastructure, again, within that same sector, every stock or every subsector has a different period, correct? So if you look at in US, when we look at infrastructure, in technology, there's a hardware sector and there's a software sector. Within the software, there are again software service providers and pure software. Microsoft is a not a service provider, it's a pure software company, whereas Infosys is a software service provider, or Cognizant, they look at that way. And whereas Dell Computer is a hardware manufacturer, correct? Or Intel is a hardware manufacturer. So they're every sector, they're all in computer sectors, but they all have different cycles and different. So you have to look at it from a very different perspective. So the best returns in America has been given by a technology hardware sector, not the software sector. The technology hardware sector over the last 20 years has given the best return. Now in India, that sector didn't exist. That didn't exist. Now that sector has to come here, and you'll see that happening. Technology hardware sector, we don't have that here. We should see that in the coming few years. Now, how did Nifty now coming to the current state of the market? I'm ending my presentation with two slides. If you see how the Nifty has performed as of today, 1 year performance, it's minus 74%, zero return in the last 1 year. 2 years, minus 3% return. So last 3 years, 2 years, the market has really not performed. Last 3 years, 23% return, correct? This is absolute return, correct? Last 5 years, it has given 54% return, correct? So we are talking about absolute year, correct? 7 years, 122, 10 years. So if you see on an average, leaving aside the last 2 years, the Nifty has given 10% return, 10 to 11% return. But that is as of this point of view. Now, if this Nifty doubles from here, Nifty doubles, this 24 becomes 34, 44, all these numbers will change. CAGR, they'll become 15, 20%. So this is that this doesn't mean that Nifty is going to give you 10% return on long term. What it means is, at today's point of view, from today's base, we work out the low point of view, Nifty has given low returns. But if Nifty goes to 35,000, all this will change. All this will change. So I'm giving you a perspective, correct? The market is low today. Now, if you look at a different way, in past 20 years, India has never been undervalued versus emerging market. India will always come out at a premium over emerging market, but last 2, 3 years, India has gone, the premium has gone. South Korea, Taiwan, they are performing better than India. So India is the premium has gone now. This is the first time it has happened in the last 20 years. So it has to bounce back. Then if you look at this, right? I have no In last 20 years, India has never been more underweight in global investors. So all these hedge funds, they have gone from what you call selling India and buying South Korea and Taiwan. Now you know what has happened in South Korea, Taiwan, and Japan. They have become extremely volatile. So they are coming back. They are coming back to India. Now, see South Korea in last 2 months, what has happened? Minus 24, minus 31. And see, India is to, this turn is going to happen. So we have to have patience. India should perform well. With this, I'll end my presentation. So we had a very low point of today. The benefits, all of the infrastructure which has been built, we'll see in next 10 years. I'm not saying we are going to see in next quarter. Infrastructure boom benefits you get over a longer period of time, and that's so you will see that. I see good days ahead and days. Yeah. Now I'm open for questions. Thank you for your time. And Shonit, one, okay, disclaimer, I'm not recommending any stocks or investments. Investment is subject to market risk. Simplicity is a mutual fund distributor and CBD is a stockbroker. And all other everything is here, correct? And yeah, feel free to ask questions. Uh, yeah, you can text your questions on the chat box and somebody will read that to me.
We have one question where REITs are similar to mutual funds, which is the better, like,
No, REITs is yeah, very good question. So REIT is who invests in REIT, correct? Insurance companies and long-term institutions. So in endowment funds, so pension funds who in their portfolio they want stable returns, correct? So REIT gives you 8 to 9% return. REIT doesn't give you 20% return like so. REIT is not a good investment for retail investor. They should invest in a debt fund or a bond fund. REIT is a very good investment for large institutions. They take a very large investment, correct? So they buy a IT complex in Chennai or Bangalore or Hyderabad. They'll invest $400 million. Uh, for those kind of investors, REIT is very good investment. Mhm. REIT is good for institutional investors. REIT is not good for what do you call individual investors because the liquidity is low. You cannot exit. Yeah. Any more questions?
everyone, you guys can, free to unmute yourselves and ask questions, and we can also put it up on chat.
I had a question. So many of the stocks that were on your slides, like the power sector or even the infrastructure, they have rallied recently, and they most likely are expensive at this time. So what is your suggestion? What should be the strategy
So
for?
the rally is not over for power sector, because we still have not seen shortage of power in India, which we'll see in next few years. The demand will go up, correct? So the power sector rally will continue. Whenever correction comes and a dip of the market, you should invest. We're in the mid
Okay, so we wait until there
No, I would
is
say
something.
you do through an SIP. Don't try to time
Okay.
the market and build the portfolio through power sector that way. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Because so the power is going to be the key for all that knowledge, defense, everything now, correct? Our whole life going to depend on power sector now. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And railways, for example, it has stagnated for several years now.
Mhm.
And I think the investment also has tapered down, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
railways, yeah. The reason railways have railway investments, FFIs don't invest in railways. It's the Indian population which is investing in railways. Mm. So that's why that sector, for foreign funds, So again, you have to understand who's investing where psychologically, correct? Now, because India doesn't have world-class railways, so that's why FIs are not investing that. They'll invest in the technologically advanced railway systems. So FFIs are not investing in railways. Uh, some India dedicated funds are investing, but they don't see. Uh, so, so when a global FFI is building his portfolio, he will buy the best railway stock in the world, wherever it is. He won't go by this though, which is the best. He'll buy the best chip stock in the world. He'll buy the best. So they'll pick up the player, what is the best in the world. And that's how they do global allocation. So India doesn't stand a chance in railways globally, correct?
Right. And one last question, sorry. Even shipping is quite expensive, right? On the shipping stuff.
No, shipping is not expensive. Shipping is going to be very critical for India. So as and when it corrects, one should invest. Yeah, I've been. Uh, we have missed that first rally in the shipping. So when it corrects, we are investing. Just now it's not soft. Yeah, shipping is, but it is a very long term. Huh? Shipping is a very long term investment. Your time horizon for investing in shipping industry should be minimum 5 to 10 years, not 1 or 2 years.
Okay, okay.
Hmm? Yeah. So shipping, airline, all those stocks, when you invest, they should be minimum 5 years. So investing for 1 or 2 years, it's very risky investments.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now, what happens is in infrastructure, though the sector looks very good for long term, in short term, the prices of that sector are dependent on the technical indicators of fund flows, correct? And that's why sometimes you may get a very good opportunity, or sometimes you get stuck at very too high. So you have to be very careful while investing in this. You have to follow a process, and any investment you do, your horizon should be minimum 5 years.
We have one more question from Umesh, and the question is, how do you see the returns in next 3 to 5 years in terms of hardware technology?
Hardware technology. So, okay, very good. So the returns, there are two components to it, correct? How the company does and how the management behaves. So in India, hardware companies, if the management is from Tatas or any reputed fund house, they'll do very well. But if the management is from a new entrepreneur, you don't know what happens. Correct? He makes money overnight, then there's a fight in his house, or there is a fight among the partners, and that stock goes down. We have that guy is never seen. So the returns will be so like the the company or the stock sector wise they are very good returns, but the company wise very risky. You go with the established promoters. Yeah, a promoter who has seen ups and down in his life.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Because navigates, okay, let me put it this way. Let me put investing is like, a promoter of business is like you take a small boat in a pond and you take a ride. You're fine. But if you take that small boat in the ocean, you're going to get drowned. You need to have a ship. And if you have not seen that wild sea, if you're floating in the ocean, you're going to get killed, correct? So a promoter has to see where he's floating, correct? You can't take a small boat and if because you can do boating in a small pond, you can do boating in ocean. No, you can get killed. So it depends on, so you have to see the quality of the management from that perspective. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Shawnee. Thank you,
So
Abba.
we
Thank
have
you.
two questions more. Two
Oh, you
questions
have
more.
to. Okay.
Yeah. How much should be the weightage in infrastructure with regards to power and the total portfolio, infrastructure and power, total allocation?
It should be 10%. Should be 10% minimum. If you're the
And
longer the horizon, the more you weightage you can give. The shorter. So if for 5 years you're investing, then 10%. If you're investing for 20 years, then you can easily give 15, 20%. You will get good returns there. So I'll give you an example of Tata Power. Tata Power Company has been there for ages, correct? In 1995, that stock at one time was 500 rupees. And that Tata Power stock came down to 30 rupees in COVID times. So what I'm trying to tell you is this sector, the longer the horizon, now Tata Power has again gone to 700, correct? It's gone to 700. So if somebody plays, who bought the Tata Power stock in 1920 or not 2018 or 16, he must have got killed in panic because he bought it at 200, it went down to 25. Panic, correct? Now, somebody who bought it at 30 rupees and today is sitting at 700 is very happy. He thinks he's a genius, but you have to have that time horizon. Yeah.
Just a correction, Tata Power is at 380 and
Oh, that 380. Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And we have one more question. AI investments for companies in India, who will be the secondary beneficiary and the ones you see having the good boost in the portfolio to experiment with?
So AI, who's going to use, correct? The AI is going to be used, number one, by banking, correct? So where is the technology used the most? The technology is used most today in banking, financial services, stock market. So they are going to be the first beneficiaries, correct? Uh, so processing a credit card application or processing an application of a loan or this, everything will be much better, correct? The risk management will be much better. So that industry will be the first beneficiary. Yeah, and then there again, everyone. We are in still too early phases. AI. So I think. In fact, sometimes I think companies like TCS, Infosys will be the biggest beneficiary of AI because they'll be able to interpret the data and guide the client much better than average. So you'll see an evolution there. Of course, that is my long shot call, but. I'm a contrarian, correct? My view is that the software service providers will be the biggest beneficiaries of AI down the line. Of course, current job market will change, current employees will change, but they live because they have so much cash. There is no capital investment required for them. They have to just understand how to use AI better.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any questions, more?
I think we are good. Thank you guys for joining. Anyone else wants to speak so we can?
Oh, thank you. And we'll share this presentation and video with whomever. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.